Hey there VC, it's Nico back again with another update video for February 2018. I gotten some recent records in the mail, some online purchases and some finds in the wild. And of course a couple of grails at the end, so stay tuned if you wish. What we are listening to in the background is the magnificent Freddie Lindqvist and his only solo album from 1970 called Menu. And I've shown this record before, but it deserves the attention. It was one of those records which was put out here in Norway back in 1970 and didn't do anything on the Norwegian charts, let alone the international charts, and sold almost nothing. And Freddie Lindqvist continued playing for other acts as a session musician, but never released a solo album again, which was a shame. Well, a very talented guitar player. Well, let's dig into the pile which I have bought recently. It's been shown on the VC a couple of times before, but Billy Nichols, a singer-songwriter from Britain, who released a couple of solo albums, but this is his debut album called Would You Believe? And it's an okay time period piece, I would say. Typical British psychedelia. What's special about this one is that he is backed by the Small Faces, and originals of this album, which was released on the Immediate label, goes for crazy sums. So this is a nice double LP reissue with all the original tracks plus a couple of bonus tracks on the second LP. A nice pickup. I quite enjoyed this one, but I wouldn't shell out 1,000 euros plus for this one. Next up, another reissue, an English band called Samurai, not to be confused with the Japanese Samurai. This is Dave Lawson's band before he joined Greenslade, which of course was started by Dave Greenslade, the keyboardist for Colosseum in the 70s. This is quite competent British jazz rock, and this is released on that red phonograph, cherry red phonograph reissue label. Never heard of that before, but this is a well done reissue in sort of unipack sleeve. So quite melodic and actually kind of laid back British early jazz rock. A nice pickup there. Well, lately I've been trying to get into Blue Oyster Cult, and I must admit I have a hard time liking their studio albums. Especially on those early Blue Oyster Cult albums, I find the production somewhat dull and flat. I can hear there are good songs on there, and it's a good band, but the production doesn't do the songs justice. So, someone hinted you might want to get a live album from Blue Oyster Cult to hear them in full action, and I bought this double disc set called On Your Feet, On Your Knees. And man, wow, what a live band Blue Oyster Cult was. So, thanks to this live album, I now finally get what Blue Oyster Cult is all about. And this is an original issue, I believe, on the CBS label, custom labels and everything. So, this was a nice listen to finally hear Blue Oyster Cult the way I believe they wanted to be heard. So I will revisit their earlier albums and see if I can listen with a pair of fresh ears and enjoy more of those studio albums as well. Well, a little feature on a reissue label called Shadocks. I ordered from a small website a couple of out-of-print releases on Shadocks. I found The Dreams Get Dreamy. I know I have the original and I have the recent reissue, but I just had to get this because I just love that Shadocks reissue label. Quality, heavy stock paper covers, sort of stout and tip, American old style, old school covers. Recreating the artwork almost identically to those original issues. And fantastic pressing quality always from Shadocks. I never had any trouble with any of the records. And another nice feature is that they put on the original label, so it looks like an original release. And this is nice heavyweight quality pressing with magnificent audio. Actually, I prefer the quality, the sound quality on this one to the recent round 2 issue. Another thing which Shadocks almost always do is that they include a booklet and insert or posters, and it was no exception on this release. And I want to show you this giant poster of The Dream. Look at those boys, back in 1967. And on the other side, the bio of the band and some more pictures. So, just a deluxe packaging from Shadocks. They never disappoint me. I also bought myself a Shadocks reissue of Elon Corrieu and their debut album from 1972, Harvest Time. And of course, Elon Corrieu was a heavy progressive rock band from Finland. And this is a sought after obscure classic from Finland. And also the same case here. This was originally released on the Parlophone label, and Shadocks, they have reissued this on a Parlophone label. So, I like that feature. Another Shadocks reissue is by the obscure hard and heavy trio from Denmark called Terje, Jesper and Joachim. And this album was their only output from 1970, released on a tiny label out of Denmark called Spectator Records. And these are so hard to come by and so pricey if you even can find a copy. So this nice quality reissue on Shadocks is a welcome addition to my collection. Also with the original Spectator Records label. And these sound marvelous. Shadocks always do tedious and meticulous work in restoring the audio and make sure that they are presented and sound the best they can. Often with these old releases, the master tapes are gone, as in the case with Terje, Jesper and Joachim. Spectator Records headquarters burned down in the middle of the 70s with all the master tapes and all the stock they had of the albums. So they had to restore the sound from the best copies they could ever find, and this sounds amazing. So probably it sounds better than the original, because Spectator Records came often new from the shop, crackling and not too good pressing quality. Another Shadocks release is the Freedom's Children box set, which contains Freedom's Children's 3 albums from 1968 to 1971. Their first album called Battle Hymn of the Broken Hearted Horde. And I featured the Freedom's Children earlier with their second album called Astra, which is a psychedelic masterpiece from South Africa. Here as well, the master tapes have disappeared, so they have sourced down, tracked down mint copies, original copies, and restored both the artwork and the sound, recreating lavish gatefold releases of those original lost classics. Here's a copy of the Astra album, which I've shown earlier, but this is the Shadocks issue on the original Parlophone label, and man, this sounds amazing. I wonder how they do it. Restored to perfection. So if you want to check out Astra and want to grab all their albums, this is their last one called Galactic Vibes, sorry. If you want to check out Freedom's Children and want to grab all their 3 original albums at once, I suggest you go find yourself the Shadocks box of Freedom's Children's 3 albums. The original are, of course, almost impossible to find and very, very pricey. Am I in focus here? Let's see. I guess so. Well, I mentioned some grails, and I showed you Freddie Lindqvist's Menu, which was a grail of mine for many, many years. I have only ever in my life seen 2 copies in the flesh, and it's the both copies that I own myself. Just a couple of weeks ago I was approached by a dealer who asked me if I knew if anyone was interested in this copy, and I said straight away, yes, I am. So I grabbed it, paid quite a sum of money, of course, but man, this is in crisp shape. You never find them in this shape. This cover is so fragile, almost always ring wear through the lamination and creasing and split ends and everything. But this copy is excellent, both the vinyl and the cover, just in immaculate condition. So I just had to grab this one. So I'm putting up my old copy for sale, and it will partially fund my new copy. So 2 copies of Freddie Lindqvist Menu there. Never seen anyone before or since, just those 2 copies. But I can't hang on to both of them. The same deal with another band I've shown before called Soft. This is the original Polydor issue from 1970. This is sort of VG plus condition. But then I found an excellent condition issue, and to my surprise I found differences which aren't documented anywhere. Black and white Polydor logo, red Polydor logo, and a couple of other differences as well, but both of these go as first pressings. So I have 1 copy for sale. Let me know if you're interested, but this is Norwegian prog psychedelia at its finest, from 1971, that is. Well, a couple of more before I let you go. Found another addition to my swirl collection, not in the best condition, but almost for nothing. I paid a nice price on this one, and it's Manfred Mann's Chapter 3, and their first album from 1969 on the Vertigo Swirl label. And I had volume 2 once, but I just didn't like it. But this is a cool album, cool rock album with some brass, of course, but not intrusive. Well, let me just flip the record. So, a nice addition, a nice cheap addition to my swirl collection. And you don't have to pay too much, I think, for those Manfred Mann Chapter 3 records. Even though some sellers claim premium prices, I don't think they're worth it. Sadly, this one didn't have the original swirl in its sleeve, but for that price I couldn't complain. Well, next and last in this recent update is another holy grail, especially for those who are into psychedelia from the golden era. I just had to grab this copy, even though I have to eat bread and water until next payday, but then again, that's what it's all about, grabbing those grails and getting some good pieces for your collection to listen to and brag about. None other than The Gods and their first album called Genesis. And this is a UK original with flip back sleeve, and it's the mono issue on the Columbia label. And this record was almost certainly never played before I got my hands on it. Didn't have any spindle marks on it at all, no hairlines, just a pristine copy. The cover could have been in better shape, perhaps VG+, but I just couldn't leave that record alone. I had to pay up, but I paid. I got it for a very good price, so I just couldn't leave it. And of course, The Gods, you almost certainly know, is the place where Ken Hensley and Lee Kerslake of Uriah Heep first started collaborating before they went on to Toe Fat and then rejoined forces in Uriah Heep in 1970. This is a classic pop rock psych piece, typically British sounding, from 1968, and it's a wonderful crafted album. Kind of Beatlesque, but with heavy fuzz guitars, a blistering organ, and wonderful harmonious vocals. So it's a must-have, and I had to grab it. So there you go, folks. I guess I will be away for a while, an indefinite hiatus. There's a lot going on in other aspects of my life, so it might be a while until the next video, but then again, you never know. If anything pops up and I get the time, I'll shoot another one and upload it to my channel. So thanks for watching, thanks for all you new subscribers, and thanks for all the comments and likes. I really appreciate them. See you soon. Bye for now.